The Bible speaks of a judgment day, then of the Lord's day, and then Jehovah's day or great day. True or false? Each term means something different. True. So what's the difference? As far as Judgment Day, it refers to the millennium. The Lord's Day started in 1914 and ends at the end of the millennium. Now, what is Jehovah's Day? Well, there's not just one day of Jehovah. In ancient times, there were several days of Jehovah. There was one against Jerusalem in 607 before our Common Era, according to Zephaniah 1:7. There was another day of Jehovah against Babylon, Isaiah 13, verse 1 and 6. There was another day of Jehovah against Egypt, according to Jeremiah 46, verses 1 through 10. And then there was the day of Jehovah against Edom, according to Obadiah, verse 15. And, of course, there was another day of Jehovah against Jerusalem in the year 70 of our Common Era, when, in fulfillment of the prophecy, the Romans then conquered and destroyed Jerusalem. Well, there is a day of Jehovah just ahead of us, and it will affect the whole earth. And we can see what Peter said about it in 2 Peter, verse 3:12, where he used this expression. As you await and keep close in mind the presence of the day of Jehovah. Yeah, and what is the day of Jehovah that's to come soon? Well, the Insight book says, the special period of time, not 24 hours, when Jehovah actively manifests himself against his enemies, with divine judgment executed against the wicked. And it is also a time of salvation and deliverance, it says. Well, the Watchtower 2006, December 15, said the greatest day of Jehovah still lies ahead. It will start with the destruction of Babylon the Great. And 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 2 and 3 speaks of this day of Jehovah. It says, for you yourselves know very well that Jehovah's day is coming exactly as a thief in the night. Whenever they are saying peace and security, then sudden destruction is to be instantly upon them, just like birth pains on a pregnant woman, and they will by no means escape. The convention outlined, one of those outlines, 2010, said none of the past efforts to bring about peace and security fit the description of this prophecy. Why not? They were not followed by sudden destruction that is to be instantly upon them. Then it said whether the cry for peace and security takes the form of one outstanding declaration or a series of declarations, it will be a veneer. And Public Talk Outline number 176 says the cry of peace and security may be one event or a series of events involving political leaders. As to the complete fulfillment of this prophecy, it is wise to wait and see what develops in the world scene. End of quote. Well, it is possible that religious leaders will join in that statement, like in ancient times when religious leaders in Judah said, there's peace, when there was no peace. Jeremiah 6, verses 14 and 23, 16 and 17. Another watchtower said the foretold tribulation will begin when the nations think that they are close to solving some of their big problems. Anyway, we know the day of Jehovah will begin with the destruction of false religion, Christendom first. 1994, Watchtower said Satan's entire world system, starting with Christendom, must drink from Jehovah's cup of vengeance. Now, who will destroy Christendom? political powers within the United Nations. And 2010, September 15, Watchtower said, the annihilation of the most reprehensible part of Babylon the Great, that's Christendom, will serve as a prelude, so that means it comes first, to the total destruction of the weakest world empire of false religion. Jehovah will put it into the hearts of the political leaders to devastate the spiritual harlot. In figurative language, it says in Revelation 17:16 that political powers within the UN will eat up her flesh. Well, what might this entail? It might entail that they will confiscate their real estate and their bank accounts. It will be the end of all false organized religions. The institutions of religions will perish, although its former members or parishioners will continue to live on for a while until Armageddon. When the time comes, the nations will evidently see the need to strengthen the United Nations, says the Revelation book. They will give it teeth, as it were, lending it whatever authority and power they possess so that it can turn upon false religion and fight successfully against her. How many parts does the Great Tribulation have, or segments, or phases? Well, Watchtower said 1999, it seems that there will again be an opening phase, used the expression phase, an attack on all false religion, just as Gallus' attack in 66 of our common era opened the tribulation on Jerusalem. Then, after an interval, second part, interval of unspecified length, the end will come, the third phase, destruction on a worldwide scale, paralleling that in 70 of our common era. There were three phases or segments or parts of the Great Tribulation in the first century. But the point is that the whole time from 66 until 70, approximately 4 years, all that time was Great Tribulation. Watchtower 2006 said, while it is true that the Roman army did not destroy Jerusalem until 70 CE, the intervening years after 66 were not trouble-free. Far from it, those years were filled with violence and bloodshed. One historian describes the situation in Jerusalem that time as a fearfully bloody civil war accompanied by acts of horrid cruelty. In the year 67, the Romans sent a new army of 20,000 soldiers. Judea was then systematically conquered the next year in 68. So it was all Great Tribulation. We do not know how long the second phase, called interval in the Watchtower, after the destruction of Babylon the Great will last. Whether it will be weeks or months or a year, we do not know. We'll have to wait and see. But after that, Jesus will come as executioner in Armageddon. Do we need to be afraid? Well, it would be normal to be a little bit scared or anxious. But Revelation 7 promises that the great crowd will come out of the Great Tribulation, which means they will survive. Why is it good to think about these things? Jesus warned, he said, stay awake and prove yourselves ready. We don't know when the Great Tribulation starts, but we do know it will start after the cry, peace and security, and after the remaining anointed receive their final sealing. So let's continue to be awake and alert to these interesting events just ahead of us.